Hello and welcome to Soups and Sabers. My name is Jordan, and with me today, celebrating 10 years of Captain America Civil War is Jack. How are you today, Jack?
I'm doing well. I can't wait to talk about the 10-year anniversary of one of my favorite MCU movies that's come out. Like I think it's in my top 3 at least. So uh, it is in my top 3. No thinking about it, it is.
Yeah, Civil War, Captain America Civil War, 10 years already. This is crazy to me, but it is a movie that came out May 6th, 2016. That's kind of crazy. I'm reading this here. The red carpet premiere was April 12th, almost a
Wow.
full month ahead of time.
I that's that doesn't happen anymore.
No, no, it does
tell
not.
you that. Like that
It
too
happens
many
maybe a
leaks.
week
Yeah.
ahead, a couple days. It does not happen this far ahead anymore. Um, which is crazy because there's a lot of stuff in this movie that would be spoilers, or
Right.
potential spoilers. One thing that also kind of really threw me as we're just kind of opening the show here too is that it has been 10 years, but also like we just got a new Captain America movie last year. So there was a 9-year gap between the third and fourth Captain America movie,
Yep.
which maybe is part of the reason why that film didn't, I guess, grab the attention of the world. It had a great opening weekend. The other probably portion of it is it was not as good as these first three Captain America movies, I feel like. So that's probably something that harmed it too. Um but yeah, so of course this movie starred Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Don Cheadle, Jeremy Renner, Chadwick Boseman, Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Rudd, Emily Van Camp, Marissa Tomei, Tom Holland, Frank Grillo, Martin Freeman, William Hurt, and Daniel Bruhl. This is commonly referred to as Avengers 2.5, but I have a little list of things here that I want to kind of get into with talking about Civil War. And something you mentioned when I was, I think, asking you to be on here, but you had a gap of not seeing the MCU movies in theaters or just overall, and want to kind of get your history with it. I know you said Avengers, right? And all of Phase One in theaters.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I saw most of Phase One like as it was coming out. Maybe not all in theaters. I know I saw Iron Man 2 in theaters. I saw Captain America: The First Avenger in theaters, and I saw Avengers in theaters. The other ones I saw thanks to Redbox. Like that lots of renting the movies on Redbox and getting to see those. But yeah, I followed all of Phase One, uh, and then I didn't really watch much else with it after that. I was watching the cartoons like around that same time. That's when Disney XD at the time it was had Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is a great show, deserved more than 2 seasons of like all of these characters and all of the Avengers characters through that, and that really motivated me to go see it in theaters. And the only Marvel movie I saw in theaters between Avengers and Civil War was Guardians of the Galaxy. That was it. Which I know like that's 4 years and only one movie in between. But back then that was not that many movies that were being missed in between there because there was a lot more time in between those movies coming out. I know I missed Ant-Man, which is surprising because, he is
Yeah, that is
one of my
surprising.
favorite characters. But I do think I saw that one on on Redbox
It
potentially.
was Ant-Man already a favorite at that point due to,
Well,
like,
yeah, because
cartoons?
he was in Earth's Mightiest Heroes
Okay.
because as he should be, he's one of the founding members of the Avengers
Right.
with Wasp, Janet Van Dyne. So like, like that was so yes, he was up there as one of my
And
favorite
it's
characters.
and it's Hank in,
It's Hank
Earth
in that,
Mightiest
yeah.
Heroes?
It is,
Okay.
which is not the best Ant-Man, but There's some bad Ant-Mans. There's one good one, and there's two that are bad,
Mm.
and there's others too. But of the main ones, there's two that are really bad.
Yeah. And so let's see. Let's play it out. Avengers was 2012.
Mhm.
Guardians was 2014. Civil War 2016. So you missed Dark World, Iron Man 3, Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron even.
Yeah, yeah. I think I might have. Again, those are like at least for maybe I watched Age of Ultron out of theaters, like on video rental, but
Right.
like I wasn't going to the theaters for all of these, and like
So
they just didn't grab me and
so
as
what
much.
was it about Civil War that kind of brought you back where you're a teenager at this point? Are you reading stuff online that's like, "Oh, I got to go see this"? Is it a trailer? Is it you've caught up on your backlog and you're like, "Let me go see Civil War," or like what was it?
Not even close to any of that.
Okay.
I was not in the loop at all. I was visiting my family down in Arkansas, and we wanted to see a movie, and it happened to be playing at the time.
Wow, okay.
And I was just like, oh yeah, I haven't
I
really
don't know
seen
who
any of
this
the
Vision guy is. I
yeah,
don't know
I haven't
who.
seen any of these Marvel movies in a while. I guess I'll give it a try. But uh, I remember watching it in theaters and like not knowing anything about any of the real lead up to it and any of the trailers or anything, but seeing all of these characters that were in the cartoons that I really liked and everything, like seeing Black Panther show up, and I was like, oh, I really liked him in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and seeing Ant-Man, and I was like, okay, they like this is a different Ant-Man, but it's Ant-Man, and seeing Spider-Man this, and seeing all of these characters really come through and shine in this, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? I think maybe it's time I get back into this, and caught up on my backlog on everything with that. Thankfully, Redbox was still a thing, and it wasn't that difficult to find those movies out in the wild. More difficult than it is now with streaming, but and then caught up on all of that, and I think have seen pretty much every Marvel movie in theaters since then. So yeah, really brought me back into the MCU.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm always fascinated by people that have kind of grown up with the MCU because, for me it's a little different since I remember Iron Man coming out in 2008. I did not see that in theaters. This was back when I was in high school. I lived in a very rural area too, so I did not have a lot of opportunities to go to the theater if it wasn't with like if my parents or like family wasn't going to the theater. Um so 2008, as a Batman fan and as a Marvel fan, it probably shocks people. I did not see The Dark Knight in theaters. I did not see Iron Man in theaters. The first MCU movie I saw was Iron Man 2 in theaters. We believe rented Iron Man or got it from the library or something in like '08 or '09. And then I saw Iron Man 2. This is a fun story. I saw Iron Man 2 in theaters in England. I was visiting my sister who was living over there at the time, and we went to see. I wanted to go see Iron Man 2, and we went and saw it at a local theater in I guess York or somewhere up there, probably York, England, is where we went. And then I made my brother-in-law and my sister sit through the credits and see that Thor's hammer, you know, tease, and they were like, "You made us stick around for that little thing," and I was like, "Yeah, I know what's going on with this now." And I remember, I don't know if I remember the Iron Man announcement. I remember it being a big deal in school, and I knew who Iron Man was. He was not a character I didn't like know because while I didn't read a lot of comics back then, I did have Marvel Ultimate Alliance, those games, which were really great games where you could have a great roster of Marvel characters as your team members and all that kind of stuff. So I knew him from there, and I probably knew him from some of like I don't know if he ever did any of the Spidey cartoon animated series team ups. And then we had what else did we oh yeah, and then Civil War the comic came out, and that was one of the first trade paperbacks I had as a kid. Still have it around here somewhere. But so and actually Ultimate Alliance 2 is based off of the Civil War storyline, so then I had that one as well. So I knew these characters, but like not as well as I would say most diehards did, going into like I probably didn't know his name was Tony Stark, but I knew he was Iron Man. And we watched this movie, it's a really good movie, and then we go see the second one in England, and I saw my dad was very interested in going to see Captain America, so I was able to drag him there in 2011. And then I don't think I had the pull to get people to see Thor. So caught that one on video later, right before Avengers, and I went to Avengers opening night. That was the first one I saw opening night. And then from there, I was, I didn't get to see Iron Man 3 in theaters because I was going to my college program in a couple months, and I just started dating my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and um, we didn't get to. Yeah, I also worked retail at night, so there wasn't a lot of like spare time to go to movies.
Yeah.
We were broke college kids, so I saw that on Redbox. So that's one of the movies I got to see on Redbox when I was at Disney. And then we saw Thor: The Dark World in Disney as well. Me and my friends went there. And then I came home and I caught my wife up on Captain America at least, so we could go see Winter Soldier. I took her to see Guardians. She liked that. And then like Ant-Man. And then actually my wife and I were supposed to go see Civil War. And I have a nephew who was born in 2009. So at this age, he's 7. He just turned 7. And he liked the movies that he's seen at home, and he was excited for this movie too. And my wife was sick, so I already had the tickets bought. So my sister was like, "You can take Lucas," and I took him to the movie theater to see Civil War then opening night. So that was like my theater experience with it. I had to leave a couple times, take him to the bathroom, try to get him to hold all questions to the end of the movie. And then I took my wife to see it. I think it was a weekend I was going to visit her up at her college, and maybe like the next weekend or whatever, and I was able to find a theater where we went and saw it. So I got to see it twice, and I remember the build up to it pretty well because the announcement for all of this was October 28th, 2014. This was a day that I could tell you off the top of my head, Jack, that date without having to look it up because I was involved in a car accident that day.
You told me about this, yeah.
So they had their announcement thing at the, I guess, El Capitan Theater or something. And I knew it was happening that day. And I was like, oh man, I'm really excited to be able to read all the news and whatever. I was coming back from my college class, and a lady ran a red light in front of me. So I T-boned her. And I was supposed to go to work that night. I was supposed to do all this stuff. And I ended up being like the airbag deployed. It singed actually some of the hair off of my forearm because it's really hot. All this stuff I had no clue about until this thing happens. You're like, oh, okay, now I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And I go to the hospital to get checked out. Everything's fine. So I get home and I'm like, FaceTiming my wife, who at that point, again, we weren't married, but like, we're FaceTiming, we're doing all this stuff, and my car's totaled. I'm laying in bed, and I have my laptop open at some point, and I'm like catching up on all the news, because I'm guessing. Well, I mean, like Twitter and stuff was around, so I guess I could. But back then, I was more of like a laptop guy. I was like always reading the news on the laptop and like going to Reddit and message boards and all that kind of stuff. And that's where they'd announced like all of their movies building up to even Infinity War. They mentioned Infinity War at this point. So, they had originally announced this movie as as Captain America Serpent Society at like the beginning of the show.
Mhm.
Then they announced, like, oh, we have a like Black Panther movie or something, right? We have that may have been later when they introduced Chadwick Boseman to being in Civil War, but then they like are, giving their slate. And you're following along at the slate. At this time, we're all hyped for Age of Ultron because it's the next Avengers movie. And then they announce, it's actually not Serpent Society, it's Civil War, and they bring out Robert Downey Jr., they bring out Chris Evans, and they do like a little face-off thing, and they're like, Chadwick Boseman is going to be Black Panther in Civil War, and he comes out, and everybody's losing their mind. And at that point, it was like, wow, like that was big news. And I was just like, even after this car accident, I was kind of riding this wave of like, man, I'm so happy I survived to see this stuff. So that was a big thing. And then during this time as well, I'm also applying for, my second college program, and I get in, and it starts January 2015. And while we're down there, I'm rooming with guys that shout out Andrew and Diego, who like the MCU and other stuff like that. Diego was a big The Flash fan on CW. And we were just sitting around the apartment when the news broke in February that they were Sony and Disney made the deal to kind of share Spider-Man, and that he was going to appear in Civil War. So like I think I was like sitting at the table. We may have been eating or something, and Diego's just like, "Oh my god, this news of this," and I'm like, "What?" And I had to make sure that he was right. I'm like going on, like, "Is this true?" And that was monumental news. And part of the reason why we're also celebrating Civil War 10 years is, not only is it 10 years of this movie, but Spider-Man: Brand New Day is coming out this year, and it is 10 years, Jack, of the MCU Spider-Man with Tom Holland already.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to think about that he's been in that role for 10 years. And I mean, it's also crazy to think about how this will be his, what is this, his sixth MCU movie or seventh MCU movie? Because you have Civil
Brand New
War,
Day.
the four Spider-Man movies, and then Infinity War Endgame. So
Yeah,
that'll
so
be
three non-Spider-Man movies, right?
yep,
And four Spider-Man movies. Yeah, so
yep.
this will be seventh.
So he'll have been in 7 movies, and then as we talked about to start this out with, Captain America got a 4th movie after 9 years, which means that it took 14 years to get 4 Captain America movies. But
yeah, and we're getting a fourth Spider-Man movie in 9 years.
yeah,
With a 5-year gap,
right,
by the way.
right. Like that's
So
pretty crazy.
yeah, no, Sony has the, apparently Sony is the one that gets to date all these, and back when those movies were releasing with Homecoming and Far From Home and No Way Home, they had a real strict, like, we're doing 2-year gaps between these, and yeah, so we had like a trilogy in 6 years, right? Less than
Yeah.
that. We had a trilogy in 4 years.
4 years, yeah, 4.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we had, even to get a trilogy of Captain America movies. I mean, I guess that was only 5 years, but
That was 5 years.
still,
Yeah.
still like shows you how quickly that all occurred. But I mean, that means it's a decade of Black Panther being in the MCU too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like there's a lot of that sort of really cool stuff in embedded in this movie. And yeah, I checked just to make sure I had the right ranking. I have Civil War as my 3rd favorite MCU movie of all time. I think it's amazing for several reasons, but I wish I got to experience all that hype from it, because I remember finding out way after the movie came out that like it was originally unveiled as Serpent Society, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. And yeah, I mean, like I had no clue about what to expect with it at all going into it. And I do remember, actually, I did see Age of Ultron before. Specifically, I saw it on a Disney cruise. It was on the on-demand video
Oh, okay,
on
okay.
on a Disney cruise. So I saw it on like a screen that's like about the same size as my laptop screen in front of me.
Just
Like
like they intended. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like
just as it was
watching
intended.
it's like
Yeah.
watching Oppenheimer on your phone.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, that's what Christopher
exactly
Nolan
what
wanted.
Nolan
Yeah,
intended.
yeah. So I did get to see it beforehand, not a theatrical experience. So I at least had that. But
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, so at least you knew like who Vision was, I guess, or
yeah,
else you'd kind of be like, I'm
Scarlet Witch
lost.
and
Yeah,
you
true.
know all of that. I understood it. I understood what they meant when they said Sokovia. So that's
Oh,
really
true. That's a good.
important.
It is an
That's
important
really
one for this
important.
movie.
Even though they do kind of explain it, but
Yes.
still it's important. It's very important right from the outset of the movie, in fact.
Yeah, and we had not just the buildup of like the news and stuff, but I remember so vividly the first. I don't know if it was the first trailer. I really wanted to rewatch all these before we record it, but I didn't have time. But like the first teaser that had Spider-Man in it, where he does the where Tony says under ruse, and then it cuts to him kind of like coming in, stealing the shield from Captain America, and then having that. And I had that still the day that it released. I had this that still as like my Facebook cover photo and like all that stuff because Spidey's my guy, and I love Captain America too. So having him with the shield is just a really cool shot. Um, that I just couldn't believe it, especially like how good that suit looked. I was like, this is, you know, um, some of the best that Spidey has looked on film for me. And when we're talking about 10 years of Tom Holland, not only is this the longest tenured Spider-Man, right? Um, but even the gap between, Tobey Maguire was his third movie was less than 9 years before Civil War comes out because it was '07.
Yep.
And it was like, I think May '07. So it was almost exactly 9 years. And we've had Tom Holland for 10. So like the amount of time that we've had Tom Holland was the gap between Toby and Civil War with an Andrew Garfield squeezed in there in the middle too. So
Well, and I will say though, isn't Tobey Maguire technically the longest tenured Spider-Man now, because he was
I
in
don't
a
know.
he
Can he
was
be? Can it be considered tenured if there's like
there was a
other
sabbatical.
Spider-Man?
There was a sabbatical in between there, you know.
Well, I guess now he would be. I don't know. Like it kind of gets muddy. This is the longest
Yeah.
consecutive that somebody's
Yes.
played Spider-Man uninterrupted. I guess is my point. Um, and we're assuming he's probably going to get a couple more movies before he hangs it up, at least.
I feel like he's probably in Doomsday or
And if
going to
he's
be.
in Doomsday, that's 8 movies. If he's in Secret Wars, that's 9 movies.
Yeah.
you
Oh yeah.
know?
Definitely. I mean, he's going to be in one of those two. You know, he's going to be.
Yeah, yeah,
There's no way that he's not. So
yeah. I agree. I think he's. I would say I lean more towards Secret Wars than Doomsday. I think Doomsday
yeah.
is so crowded right now that I feel like.
And also, like, when would he have filmed any part of it?
Right now, they were both filming at the same time in London, essentially. So I mean, I guess he could have, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's somebody else in the suit and they just have him dub lines, and they don't
Yeah,
take his mask off. Like they could do
I mean,
something like
well,
that too.
because no one knows who he is right now
Right,
in the
right.
MCU. So, very possible.
But I think one of the rumors is that this is supposed to be going on very close to when Doomsday is going on. So I could see it being like almost like this is what he's doing at that time. I don't know. I don't really know. Like we don't know how any of this stuff is going to kick off. Because like you know the end credit scene of Thunderbolts is 14 months after Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
So this could have a 14-month gap here where Spider-Man is also there's going to be probably time jumps in this movie as well with
Yeah, and also there's all the stuff from Daredevil, Born Again
yeah,
that's getting wrapped up. The Punisher special presentation has to fit in there somewhere.
yeah, especially because
Uh,
Punisher is in this
yeah,
movie.
yeah. So there's a lot that's got to fit in through all of this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I guess let's go over to our initial thoughts after watching the movie. So, you have this movie ranked pretty highly. Was it ever number one for you after watching this? Or like what was your like your it apparently made it a big deal enough for you to go back and watch the other ones that you missed. So like what was your initial thoughts after watching it?
I mean, I just remember all of the fight choreography being incredible in theaters. Like there are so many iconic action sequences in from this movie. Like some of the best that the MCU has ever had. Right? Like you think about the super soldier like training facility fight, essentially, right? Like between Cap, Tony, and Bucky, right? Like that's iconic. The scene of them just battling it out right towards the end of that movie is so good. And you have like the escape from detention fight. You have the car chase sequence with Black Panther's introduction in there. And then of course you have I've got to be careful picking this up, but my favorite action sequence in the entire MCU, the airport sequence. I mean,
For
I
people listening, Jack is
oh yeah,
sharing the Lego set of this on the video version. So
yes, it is one of my favorite sequences. I mean, it's like 20 straight minutes
yeah,
of action and like everything that you think about with what Civil War, like if you're talking from the comic books or anything, what it would look like, this is what you would think of, right? All of these characters all fighting it out, some incredible sequences. I mean, the way that each character gets their moment to shine in it and have those moments is so good, right? Like, and there's so much interesting layered character development and so many like Civil War in the MCU has gotten some flack from comics fans, right, for it not being as like missing out on a lot of the key details of the the comic version of it, which
right,
is
right.
fair. I think that's true, but I think it serves a purpose in a very similar way where there are a lot of personal conflicts happening between each of these individual characters, right? And there is a lot happening there that all come together. And like, yeah, they're fighting for their side, but not really like a lot of these characters, and I think people pointed out a lot online, are really fighting for the actual reason for the conflict in the movie, which is the Sokovia Accords, right? There's it becomes more than that, and the way that they layer that in is incredible. And I think there are so many really great moments. The Spider-Man versus Captain America fight sequence in there, Spider-Man versus Falcon and Bucky in the terminal. So many
Yeah,
good
you got a
one-liners.
metal arm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, dude, you have a metal arm. That's sick. And everyone's got a gimmick these days. Like
Yes,
just
yeah, yeah.
all of those lines. Like you got Ant-Man in the middle going giant man mode.
Yeah,
And you know, does anyone have any orange slices? I mean, you
right.
have you have Wanda and like really starting to regain agency over her powers, because the movie starts with her basically losing a lot of that feeling of it. And I mean, there's all of these conflicts that built up. I mean, in in retrospect, like thinking about, like, it makes so much sense that the Russos were able to make Infinity War and Endgame feel balanced and meaningful,
Yeah.
because they managed a large cast of characters with Civil War and made each character feel like they had a reason to be there, even if that reason was just like Ant-Man is like, Falcon's just like, yeah, this guy kind of got the best of me one time, and so he's gonna be here. Like,
Right, right. Yeah, this is, you know, you were talking about the comic and stuff. I would say it's one of my first trades. I'm not a huge fan of it in the sense of like after reading it a couple times, I'm like, it's one of those events where I feel like it's a big deal, but then you read it and you're like, I don't know. For me, it's one of those where you're like, yeah, there you go.
yeah,
People listening, he's got him
I
held
think I'm
up.
a pretty big fan of it.
Yeah, I'm not huge on it, and I remember reading it. I probably read it two or three times, and I'm just like, I don't know, a little underwhelmed after reading it. And that's just the, what is it, 7 issues, 6 issues,
Six
the
in the
main,
original, yeah,
right, the
the
main one,
main
yeah.
event, yeah.
And then of course they had all of those tie-ins throughout the
There
run
are
of it.
83 total issues, I believe, throughout all
That's
of the
crazy.
tie-ins. And I mean, I don't have all of the books. I want to get all of them, because
Yeah,
it is one of my favorite comic like events.
events, yeah.
I really enjoy it. And I mean, I've read a bunch of them from like the library, like the Fantastic Four tie-in one is really well done as well.
And you don't have that one?
I do not have that one. It's
I
very
will
expensive to
see.
find.
I'll see. Sometimes my local comic shop had a used copy of that for 50% off. So if
Oh
I
wow.
see it anywhere,
Okay.
I'll keep an eye
Okay.
out.
Yeah, no, that one's great. I mean, because Ben Grimm's just like, man, I'm going to Paris. And like he just dips out of everything. Like, but I think like there's so many interesting dynamics in it. And I get like where people are coming from, where it's like, this doesn't really get the same like level of buildup, and people are like, oh well, why would Spider-Man be on Team Iron Man? And it's like, well, it's
Right, right.
very different in this sort of thing. And
He does flip to Iron
I
Man though in the comic, doesn't he? Because he unmasks himself.
he does, yeah, he does, which I mean
He just
then
doesn't.
gives us
Yeah.
he gives us a lot of iconic Spider-Man comic book stories from that. A lot of them.
Brand new day
Yeah,
coming
exactly.
later this year. Um, but you're right that like I feel like this is what an adaptation should be. You're taking
Right.
the idea of the comic and putting it into what works in the MCU, right? So in this case, we don't have the huge roster of characters,
Mhm.
but we do have a pretty large roster compared to what people were thinking back in the day, right? I mean, there was times where people wouldn't even let them dress up in their suits, right? So having a
Yeah, I mean,
roster that
thinking
has
about the X-Men
right,
movies where they joke about like what do you think we're gonna do? May like wear some ridiculous yellow suits?
right, right, and you have like now you have this huge roster of characters in the MCU. You're adding Black Panther and Spider-Man. You're getting a little bit more vision than what Age of Ultron had to show that he's like an actual superhero. You're getting more Scarlet Witch in this as well, so it's really building out that team. Ant-Man is into the fold after having his solo film a year before. That uh, it feels like pretty big stakes for what the MCU has set up. And then, of course, you know, they didn't have Sokovia Accords, I guess, right? In the comic, it was the Registration Act or whatever. But in this, you're tying it into Age of Ultron, which um, is another instance of like the MCU taking something that maybe didn't work in the film. I know there's a lot of people revising and saying Age of Ultron is like the best Avengers movie or whatever, but like it's not. But there's
Uh,
people out there
really
saying that.
not.
Um And it's one of those where, you know, it took an idea from there and was able to expand on it, where maybe that helps people. It helps it in people's minds of it helps like the case for Ultron being a better movie because it actually built up a lot of stuff that is getting addressed later on. So like sometimes when you rewatch it, you're like, oh, this was setting up that, that, and that. And that's fine, but I do think you also have to have the movie work on its own. And so it took something from Age of Ultron that was a movie that wasn't received as well as Avengers 2012, you know, and builds on it to cause this friction that also gets paid off. I mean, this movie changes everything because you have, you know, Infinity War starting out with the Avengers broken up, you know, and Hulk coming in and being like, "Hey, we have to call Steve," and Tony being like, "Hey, we broke up." You know, like the Avengers are broken up. He's like the Beatles, you know, like you
Yep.
have so, and it's why they lose in Infinity War. So really, like this movie has so many big ramifications. It also, like we said, introduces so many characters that will play pivotal roles in the MCU going forward. Unfortunately, Chadwick passed away, or else I mean, he would be one of the stars of this phase, right? Like phase 4, 5, and
Mhm.
6. He would have been like front and center during this phase. And
Especially given how important in the comics, I mean, Black Panther
yeah,
is to Secret Wars and the resolution of that storyline.
you know, it's funny though, as I haven't read 2015 Secret Wars yet. I started it, but like I read all the build up to it, so I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, Black Panther's in the Illuminati, and like they're all
Yep.
dealing with the incursions and stuff. And like I read all of those Avengers, New Avengers, Hickman run, and just stopped at the big culmination for some reason. I have to get back to it, but yeah, he's very important during all of this. That would have been like I'm assuming that changes. I don't know. Phase 4 and 5 and 6 have kind of been so disjointed as it is. I feel like if it was the original, if they were going off of the phase 1 through 3 setup, he would have been the one probably appearing in a lot of these movies to build up. But
Mhm.
they kind of stopped doing that for everybody. So I don't know who would be in what. Um, but yeah,
It's been more
this
I feel
movie,
like Doctor Strange has been more of a through line for a lot of
yeah,
things.
because it helps that he was in No Way Home.
Mhm.
And then just Multiverse of Madness, right? Like again, I really wish we would have gotten.
Yeah, I guess he hasn't been in as much as I thought.
I mean, it's more than he was in the first phases, I guess. But
True.
like,
Well, because
um,
he came in after
yeah,
Civil War even,
he
so
came in after Civil War. But you know, I really wanted to do this, and I want to do it maybe after Secret Wars. Now, I was originally thinking of doing it before Doomsday, and maybe we can. But I really wanted to come up with like an episode of the podcast where we say, now that we know everything that's happened, the strikes, the COVID, Jonathan Major stuff, how would we now go back and build 4, 5, and 6 to
yeah.
build to Doomsday? Now that we know Doomsday is the villain, right? That Doom is the villain. I would love to kind of be like, what movies do you keep? What movie do you like throw in there and say we need like another Strange movie, or we need a movie where it addresses what he's
Yeah.
doing during this, you know, like that kind of thing would be really fun. But maybe that does make sense after all of it is over to kind of go back and look back instead of
Yeah.
like before Doomsday. But because I don't know what happens in Doomsday, so I can't be like,
Right.
we did a movie
No,
addressing what Strange is doing, and then it is addressed in Doomsday. Then I'd be like, oh, okay.
well, yeah. No, but Civil War, I think you're so right, has so many ramifications for everything, and like it. I feel like looking back at everything, it's kind of the movie that really shaped a lot of the direction of phase 3 onwards, right? I mean, like obviously it was an early phase 3 movie, so that makes sense. Or what I think it was it the first movie of phase 3? I think it was.
I believe it is the first one of Phase 3
Yeah, but like I mean it shapes so many important
because I think
storylines.
Ant-Man is the last one before this, right? There was a
Right,
big
yeah.
gap. It was Ultron, Ant-Man, and then Civil War. So Ant-Man was that little like coda to phase 2. They consider it a phase 2 movie,
Mhm.
even though it's after the big team up. I really think they should have just had the team ups be the end of the phases. I think it
Yeah.
is a nice natural progressing like stopping point.
Right. Yeah.
Especially because then like Ant-Man could kick off. I know it's not like a big like Ant-Man's kicking off phase 3, but like he
Hey,
appears in this
I would have been
movie.
happy.
Yeah, yeah. But like he appears in this movie, so it would be like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be like a more like phase 1 approach to it, but they like
Yeah.
having these
Yeah.
little
I
like
mean,
coda films to the end of it.
yeah, I think like there's just so many things that get really set up. I mean, you have all of the stuff with Scarlet Witch that would end up being so important even beyond phase 3.
Well,
You
the
have
relationship between Vision and
yeah,
Scarlet Witch is hinted in this movie,
it
which
is.
we didn't really. I mean, I guess it's a little teased in Age of Ultron when he saves her, but like it's like a look, right? Like this
Yeah.
is like they're hanging out at the compound while they're like benched, right?
Yep. Yep.
And when we then start off Infinity War with them already as a couple, it makes it a little bit more believable than if we did that jump from like Age of Ultron to Infinity War.
Yeah, and I mean, you have this is the jumping off point for where the Black Widow movie will come from, you
True,
know.
true.
You've got, I mean, Black Panther, you have so much involved in that. You have, I mean, a lot of stuff that still has ramifications, even if it's not like fully addressed, I feel like to the extent that I would love it to be throughout the rest of the MCU, but like the Sokovia Accords still like we know they exist because they get mentioned every now and then
Yeah,
in the
and
MCU.
yeah, do you think they were gonna repeal this? Like, when does that
Right,
happen?
like that's the thing. Like it hasn't been. Like that's part of the reason why the Avengers don't like that because
Right.
that's in the Captain America Brave
Brave
New
New World,
World,
right?
right? Like
But
that's
that's crazy to me. I feel
because
like after Endgame, they would have been like, "Man, if they didn't go back and save us all, we would be done. Like, let's let them do their thing," you know?
yeah, but no, they I hey, when is I mean, that's the realistic thing about the government in the MCU.
True.
They're just as
True.
unreasonable and as they are in real life often.
True.
So like yeah, I mean like there a lot of the things in this have a lot of ramifications. I mean, thinking about a lot of stuff that comes up in Spider-Man and like in Miss Marvel, in Wonder Man. Like the Department of Damage Control is really
Yeah.
an offshoot, really, of all of this, right? Like they all like that's part of their purview. Like part of what they're doing is kind of enforcing the Sokovia Accords in a lot of ways. And like there's a lot of ramifications from this as
Yeah,
to
because we see it in
how
No Way Home when Agent
right.
Cleary is interrogating like Ned and be like, "Oh, so
Yep.
you helped him, right?" Like that's because of the Sokovia Accords.
Right. Like there's a lot of things that matter a lot from this movie. And like I wish they touched on the Sokovia Accords more often because I think it's something that like really builds out the texture of the worlds of the MCU. Kind of like the because there's a lot of different pressures on all of these hero organizations, right? And I
Mhm.
mean, I'm sure it'll probably come up a little bit in Doomsday, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear it name dropped at least once because it comes up a little bit at the end of Thunderbolts, right? Like all of these things still exist within the MCU, and I mean, almost all of these characters still like are have like effects on the universe that we're in right now. So like some more than
When's
others, but
when's the last time you've watched Brave New World?
uh, I watched it twice in theaters, and that's it.
Okay, yeah, because I haven't revisited it, but like Sam starts talking about building a team because of
Mhm.
the leader, giving him
Yep,
this. I don't know how he knows about it, right? But
they're
um,
coming.
It's coming. Yeah, he's just that smart, I guess. But
Yep.
now they're saying that okay, so somebody this is the Google AI answer, and it has a link to Reddit. So I don't know how accurate this is, but it's saying it was repealed or lapsed by the 2020s. They were largely repealed or faded into disuse, partly because the hero's actions in Infinity War and Endgame proved necessary, as and partly due to their inefficiency, as noted in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know if I remember that coming up in the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
To be fair, it's been a while since I've seen that fully.
Same.
So I liked it when it was coming out, but it's not one that I regularly revisit. So
well, for me, it's been with how that was at such a time. Like I said a million times on this podcast, I used to watch every movie again before the next one came out.
Yeah, that's not possible anymore.
I'm gonna try it for Doomsday, but it is very tough to do that in the
Oh my
TV
God.
shows now. And that's where like I lose some of the ancient texts, right? Like because I used to rewatch them a million times because of the next movie coming out, and I had time to do it. But as a parent now, and my wife and I get maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours before bed where we're able to watch something. It's been tougher. And with especially with the bulk of just phase 4 and 5 is 6 have so many more hours than the first ones. It's like, okay, I haven't been able to revisit a lot of these shows and movies because I'm constantly catching up on the other shows and movies that have come out consistently. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Back in the day, I probably would have been able to tell you if it was repealed or anything.
I mean, I still think like regardless, the effects of it still show whether they've been repealed or not, right? Like they show. But yeah, I mean, also, I mean, I do remember afterwards for a while, and maybe it was also because COVID, everyone was like catching up on Marvel stuff. You know, there weren't a ton of projects coming out. Like there were a lot of discussions online about like Civil War and all of that. So yeah.
Like you said, if they hadn't been removed, then like the ramifications of this movie are still existing. This long later. I would be
even
curious
beyond
to
that,
see.
there's like a chilling effect, right? With real world legislation, you have that kind of stuff. Like but I think regardless, like even if it's been repealed, DODC, all of their kind of stuff operates in a very similar mindset to what inspired the Sokovia Accords, right? Like this idea that there's like superheroes create a lot of damage and create too much damage, and therefore we need to do something about it, right? And
so I guess let's get into. I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention the debate that's spread. This is also in the pop culture sphere. What has transcended from this is, are you Team Cap or are you Team Iron Man? And Jack, I need to know.
Come on, let's be so realistic.
He's holding a Cap shield for the listener. Yes, he's Team Captain America.
And like it. What always made me upset about this and discussing it was so many people who were Team Iron Man were like, "Oh yes, Spider-Man." You know that's why. I'm. And I was like, "Are you?" No. Hey, look, Iron Man has Black Panther, one of my favorite comic book characters, like ever. Right. And I'm not Team Iron Man because of Black Panther being on his team. Like
it's a silly reason to be a fan. Look, Spider-Man is my favorite fictional character. Okay. And I'm Team Captain America, okay? Because you know what else makes me upset, Jack, is when people are like, "But Bucky did kill him," and I'm like, "That's not the debate. That's not the debate.
That's not what the Sokovia Accords are about. That's not
right.
It's not about did the Winter Soldier kill Iron Man's parents? No, that's not about this at all. It's about the Sokovia Accords, whether or not the government should have authority over the actions of the superheroes and being able to essentially use them as a standing army,
Right.
which honestly, like, and if you look into the actions of the government versus superheroes in the MCU, right? The government's case is superheroes create a lot of damage, and therefore they need to be regulated. Which, you know what, like, from when you say it like that, you're like, sure, like maybe regulation is a good thing. However, if you look at where that damage is caused and what is causing it and what the alternative is, it's a good thing that they had the ability to stop these things. Obviously, it is very easy, and honestly, like, this is why this movie is something I love so much, because I feel like a lot of the ideas of it still play in, like, actual real life, like the themes behind it today, where it is very easy to see a massive tragedy and instantly point to it and say, see, I told you X group was evil. You know, we had to stop it before it got to this point, right? I mean, we see that all the time with fear mongering over so many groups in the world, right? Like, that happens, but obviously it's superheroes. It's a little bit, that metaphor isn't perfectly applicable here, but a lot of it applies. Just like, you know, the X-Men are a pretty poignant
Right.
allegory for a lot of things. But if you look at the government's actions in the Incredible Hulk, they, like, yes, the Hulk is out of control, sure. They basically flatten Harlem by unleashing Abomination and the military on this area as well. You talk about Avengers, where
They're about to blow up New York.
They are about to nuke New York City. Like, legitimately, the government's like, well, we got to stop it. Let's launch a nuke. Which, by the way, is not just hitting New York City. You are eliminating, like, the entire northeast of the United States. Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, like, all of Maryland, New Hampshire, Vermont.
Maybe
Maine.
Maryland would be fine. I don't know.
Maybe it's still like the fallout from a nuclear bomb is crazy, and the health effects would still touch, like, the entirety of the eastern seaboard. Like, you're talking destroying, like, maybe 25 to 30% of the population of the US in one moment. And, like, if the Avengers aren't there, like, yes, there is a lot of damage. There are a lot of people who get hurt. There is a lot of physical infrastructure damage that gets done to New York City. However, the government's alternative was we nuke them. Like, that is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And so, like, there's that. And then you also have the Sokovia incident, where the Sokovia Accords come from, which also, Iron Man is inspired to do this because he feels personally guilty after being confronted by one person about this. And which, of course, like, yes, it is sad that it is a heart-wrenching moment in the movie. But also, are we forgetting that if Ultron is successful in what he does, Sokovia drops down to Earth, eliminating the world.
No, but I can understand the Sokovia one is the one I can understand the most, because without Tony and Bruce trying to put together a suit of armor around the world, you don't have Ultron coming to life. So
that is,
like, I can understand that one the most. But, like, if Thunderbolt Ross is standing up there showing these clips, I'd be like, yeah, play the clip of them throwing the nuke at New York. Do that one too.
Yeah.
Because
and what about in Winter Soldier, where they were about to eliminate threats before they occur? Like,
right, that was Hydra. That wasn't even like us,
but
dude.
it was utilized through the government too, right? The government could have found this out and figured it out. But nope, it just kept growing, and it would have been really bad, right? Like, millions of people dying. And, like, I also, the thing about the Sokovia incident, like, yes, you're right. If they didn't try and create the armor around the world, that wouldn't have happened. But why then don't regulate? The regulation doesn't need to come on the superheroes who fix the issue. It needs to come
Like
on the tech industry who was
Yeah.
like, who never thought about like, should we actually do this? And just asked if they could, right? Like like that's
Right.
like that's where the regulation really needs to come to. Like it should be on the, just like in real life, the tech billionaires probably need more regulations over their artificial intelligence that they're utilizing.
Right.
Wow, look at that. The movies are really
It's still
really
topical 10 years later.
really feel topical in a decade later. Yeah, but like all of these things, it just feels like, and not to mention the government having the Avengers as basically their peacekeeping force.
Oh yeah, Captain America would be being sent to Iran right now.
I
if he
know,
could.
right? Like that's the thing. Like think about what that means. That means the Avengers would become like combatants in it. And do you want to know what that would have created? That would have created incentives for other countries to formulate teams of heroes.
Yes.
And guess what that creates? Bigger scale wars and
With more
more
destruction.
damage.
Yep.
Right? Like the whole point of the superheroes being able to respond means that they are able to try and not escalate things, right? They're able to send smaller groups of things. If the government says, "Oh no, we're sending we're dropping the Hulk from a plane into Iran right now," that's what's happening. Bruce, get angry because you're boots on the ground, man.
Mark Ruffalo would be very angry about that, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
He wouldn't have any problem getting angry on that.
Yeah, but like I mean, like that's what we're talking about in terms of what the implications of this could have been if you when you look at it.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's why I'm Team Captain America. It's not because I like Ant-Man and Falcon, although I do, but it's because they're right. When you look at where the government in the MCU is at up to this point, how can you trust them to use their discretion to fix threats, especially when you consider it's a Captain America movie, right? So it directly follows off the events of Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Where we saw the government for decades
had been infiltrated by Hydra,
which is Nazis,
right?
Legitimately.
Again, very topical.
Yes, right. Like this is what you're talking about. Like Captain America saw this firsthand. Like the government is very susceptible to those kinds of influences.
Yeah.
And
again, if Thunderbolt Ross is up there, I'd be like, all right, look, that thing you just showed me take down the helicarrier, that was Hydra.
Yeah.
If I don't bring that down in the water, people die.
Millions of people get, like, you're talking like not just like actual criminals or bad guys, however you define it.
Anybody
you're talking
they deem a future threat.
A future threat, which is crazy. Like that is like you're talking like a baby who's like two months old. They're like, the algorithm says they're gonna grow up to be Hitler 2.0. Yeah. So he's getting lasered. Like it's over. I don't know what to tell you. Like it's just ridiculous. It like that montage, like it like the fact that like also it makes me annoyed that Black Widow goes on the side of Iron Man with this, because it's like you saw all of this in Winter Soldier. Like, she
switches sides though.
Yeah,
so
like
I mean,
she does at the end, but because like she realizes like, yeah, this is stupid. Like, I think I posted a video about this on TikTok because during the pandemic on like this. I got so many hate comments from Iron Man glazers all the time. They were just like, no, he was actually in the right because his parents died. And I was like, no. It's not what it's about. Guys, I need you to lock in and watch the movie again. That's not what I'm talking about here. Like you can I'll say like Iron Man's probably like in the right for feeling very upset towards Bucky after finding this out, and Steve for
yes,
knowing
there
this.
is this
Yeah.
there is this like he can be upset with Steve for holding on to this information, for knowing it and not sharing it with him, right?
Yeah.
But nothing Steve does. I've seen people say it's hypocritical. I don't really see anything Steve does as hypocritical. He knows Bucky was brainwashed. There isn't, and he's going to get him the help, right? So like,
Yeah.
there isn't anything he does here that is like against his morals and ideas on what he says throughout the movie. You know, one thing I really love about this movie, and just when movies explore this, right? We've had a couple movies kind of explore this. We have this movie where it's like the one line that gets me on side with Steve immediately is, what if they tell us not to go help someone that we should, right? Like, what if they don't okay sending us into there, right? It's like, yeah. And we see that in Superman, James Gunn Superman, when he goes and stops the invasion into Jarhampur. People like Lois asking, did you get approval from the president? People in the city being like, you shouldn't have done that. You entered illegally, right? It's like, no, I'm helping people that need help. There's also an episode of Superman and Lois where he saves a North Korea submarine from drowning, and he puts them back in North Korea. And the U.S. military are like, why did you put them back on their shore? Why don't you bring them into like us? And he's like, because I'm not part of this. I saved their lives. That's it. And that's how it should be for these heroes. So anytime they kind of talk about this stuff is very interesting, and I always end up siding with that side. Captain America and Superman are very similar on their ideals in that regard.
Yeah, and I think in general, it's just sort of like, if it comes from the idea of like, if you have, I mean, Brain in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like, all of this comes from, if you have the ability to help people, should you? And like, how and to what extent? And I mean, what comes to mind, and what drove me crazy as well thinking about this, is like, people making the argument of, oh, well, superheroes cause a bunch of damage and hurt other people. Like, we see that with this person that ends up dying in Sokovia because of their actions. And it's like, I agree, that's bad. However, in real life, we have Good Samaritan laws, right? Where if you are trying to act in such a way to save someone's life and it ends up not working, you're not charged with all of the damage that you did.
It's like, so you can't get like sued for breaking their ribs from doing chest
from
compressions.
CPR. Yeah. Right. Like, if you have the ability to help, people recognize that you should be able to help without like, facing penalty for potentially adverse consequences. Like, we accept that in real life all the time.
Yeah.
But for some reason they're like, but no, they should be more careful. And it's like, yeah, it's nice to do that. It's nice to be careful, but when you're talking about genocidal robots, there's some other priorities that have to be done here, right? Like, I think, yeah, there's so many complexities that I feel like are not being really considered with all of this. And I just don't get how people are like actually pro Team Iron Man for the actual Sokovia
registration and stuff.
Yeah. And I just don't see it. Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me, because why would, like, you would, like, the consequences, like, the world of the MCU is completely different without superheroes. And I do think, like, the line that Vision says of, since Tony Stark revealed his identity, the number of like superhuman threats has escalated. Sure. However, like, I mean, that is
an argument that people bring up against Batman all the time, and I gotta say that too. Is um I don't agree with that argument either.
Yeah.
Of okay, but Batman is causing this by like they always say like there's a lot of when Batman first starts out, he's facing the mob, and then like the freaks start coming out,
Mhm.
and they're meeting him as like, oh, you're inspiring me since you're dressing up, I'm dressing up, and I'm gonna be a weirdo too. But like, I don't know if that's Batman's problem. He's stopping the crime that's there. Like
Mhm.
maybe other people are learning from him on that, but like he's doing what he can, right? And I think that is like so when Vision says that, I'm like, yeah, but like what am I not supposed to do what I feel is right just because others might twist that to do something wrong? I don't know.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the idea that they're responsible for that. Do we treat anyone like? Do we say that police officers are responsible for generating more crime because they go out and stop crime? So obviously, that means people are going to cause more of it, right? Like, or they create like enemies or anything like that. Do we say that people who in real life protect from these threats are responsible for causing more of them by trying to stop them? Like, do we say like no, that's not what we do, right? Like that argument basically says it is basically the equivalent of taking correlation equals causation. It's
Hmm.
committing a cardinal sin in statistics, right? Like right off the bat of saying like, oh yeah, because there's been more superpowered individuals that have existed, that means that there have been more supervillains too. But also when you look at it, especially Iron Man's villains, they're not like supervillains at
No, they're
all.
like
Like,
tech.
yeah, they're tech guys. They're like vindictive tech guys who take advantage of someone who's felt wronged, or I mean, I actually no, it is just tech guys. It is
Yeah, it's
like
it's Stain, Hammer, and the
Killian,
extremist guy. I forget his
Aldrich
name.
Killian. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's it. It's like those aren't super powered individuals. I guess Aldrich Killian kind of is for a brief moment before he explodes.
Right.
I guess spoilers for a 13-year-old movie. Uh,
Hopefully they've seen that if they're listening to this.
yeah, yeah, you'd think they must have. But like they're not super powered individuals. And like Captain America's villains aren't super powered individuals necessarily
Right.
either. They're just like the government. It's like the villains of Winter Soldier is like lazy bureaucracy, like
Yeah.
not vetting people. Like that's the villain realistically. Like sure, I guess like you have an enhanced super soldier in the Winter Soldier himself, like
Right. Right.
as a villain, but like the true antagonist is like is not that at all. It's not it like so like when Vision says that,
And they
it's
get
like
their powers from the government making secret soldiers to super soldiers.
yes, yeah,
It's not like a mutation type thing.
yeah. And like and also we know how the government would feel about that about mutation.
We're about to find out.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't get how people can possibly be on Team Iron Man after all of everything in this. I feel like Vision's argument makes very little sense. The villains are not super powered. I mean, how much up to that point, like how many? I mean, Loki is not really super powered in so much as he is a Norse god. Like there's like yes, he has powers because he is a literal deity. Like sure, I'll accept it on that.
Yeah.
But
We don't have a lot of at this point. I mean, maybe it makes more sense now, I guess,
Oh
but
yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah.
even now, like it'd just be Spider-Man villains, right?
Yeah,
Like I mean,
and also like the superpowered villains are because the government gave them the powers.
right?
Like you said with the super soldier.
Even Wanda and Quicksilver are given powers from Loki's staff through Hydra.
Yeah,
So
and also Abomination is due to
yeah,
the government.
yep,
Like that's their doing. They did that. Like yes, there have been an increase in both of these things. But also the government was aware of super powered individuals in the 90s because of Captain Marvel.
yeah.
Like they were aware of this already. They knew that was a thing. They were perfectly aware of all of
And
this.
again, they used her military
Mhm.
rank to bring her on their side, right? Like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it all comes back to them.
Like that. I just think like if you think about the government's argument for it too much, it's it's just crazy how it actually
Yeah,
gets
like I
put
can
into
almost understand the DC version of this with Lex more because Superman like falls out of the sky for them. Like we
Mhm.
don't have that yet in this, right? Like even Sentry later on is a another government experiment.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
mean, they're either tech people that have government contracts like Tony Stark, or a serum made uh, by the governments for Captain America, Thor being a literal alien, Hulk being, um, I guess, an experiment as well, more his own right experiment.
Yeah.
But like you said, Abomination is the government version of that. You have,
Yep.
uh, even if we want to get to Ross in Brave New World, is another like, uh, he's a president. He's part of the government, right? Like,
Yep. Yep.
uh,
Like this is
and he had to
just a
deal
common
with the
thing.
leader to do
Yep.
this, right? So
Yep.
like,
Like these are I'm just saying they create their own problems constantly.
yes, and then try to
Like
be like, oh, no, 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 good
yeah.
guys.
And also like that's the other thing. Like Vision has all of the knowledge in the world technically, right? Like he has like all of this information. And somehow he commits a cardinal statistical sin immediately. Just like his one contribution to this conversation is, well, correlation actually equals causation, guys. And
Right,
and
right.
everyone's like, "Oh yeah, the smart computer guy said, the smart android, yeah." And, and that's enough. Like it's it, it's kind of crazy thinking about that. And yeah, I just think the motivations are in the wrong place for a lot of this. But
Yeah.
it makes for a good conflict. And also, I mean, like honestly, I feel like we talk like in the real world, we talk about government legislation haphazardly applied to groups who are asking for some guidance being applied in such a way that it makes things worse. That happens all
Mhm.
the time. Like that is absolutely a real thing that occurs, which is why I think that's part of why this movie also helped bring me back into the MCU so much.
Yeah.
It's
Right up your alley.
I yeah, for people who don't know me that well, I got my degree in political science. I've always been involved with politics and all of that sort of stuff. Um, I'm guessing people could probably tell based off of past contributions and
Probably, yes.
comments I've made on here. But like I think like the fact that a lot of these projects can be grounded in very real like terms. Like yes, there are superheroes in these, which obviously means it's not our world, but it feels like outside of that, it really could be, right? Like a lot of it feels like it's addressing their very similar problems. And I know there are a lot of people who criticize MCU movies as like superhero slop or whatever,
Right,
right?
right.
Saying like there's nothing that it really brings into the conversation. And there are some movies that maybe fit that label a little bit. However, I think a lot of superhero movies, even if they don't make the point as well as they could, have a lot to say about things that are very real in the world of in like our modern world. And Captain America Civil War was one that I really saw that in for there, where I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like I can completely I see how this conflict kind of brews in here. And I mean we see it a little bit in Brave New World too, which is why I like that movie more than most people do. I think I like,
Hmm.
again, maybe the message isn't perfect, but it's there. We have it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We really have it in Captain America the Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah.
All like these movies really have that sort of same kind of trend in them. And I think that's a very common theme among like my top MCU movies. Winter Soldier is my favorite MCU movie. Civil War is my third favorite. Thunderbolts is up there. Black Panther is up there. Wakanda Forever is up in the top 10. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which has a lot of really potent messaging in it where when you look at it, when you really engage with it. Like, I don't know. I those are the kinds of superhero movies that I really enjoy. I mean, that's what people do. Like, man, was the first time I ever felt like really, really super invested in DC. I mean, like
Right,
the
right, right.
Suicide Squad and Peacemaker were parts of it too. But the first time I really felt like I want to see way more of this was seeing that movie and being like, yeah, this has something to say. I think a lot of superhero movies more recently have been getting this label that I think is very unfair considering
Mm.
where it's come from. I think Civil War is still one of the and Winter Soldier are still some of the best implementations of that sort of stuff. But it's all kind of in there as well with a lot of other movies. So
Yeah. Um, okay, I guess we can start wrapping it up here. I got a couple more things for you. How about let's go through our favorite moments. If there's like a standout moment, I think I know which one you're gonna say because you have a Lego of it, I think. But like, what are like the top moments that come to your mind when you think back to Civil War?
I mean, the airport scene is up there. Obviously, I've already talked
Hmm.
about that one at length, though. Uh, there are so many other moments in this though that I think of immediately with this. One that really comes to mind is uh, towards the end of the movie. Not the fight between Cap and Tony, but instead like Black Panther being like like confronting Zemo at the end of this movie,
I was gonna
which I
mention that
think
one.
is
This is one that really stood out to me as a highlight of Black Panther in this is his quick move to stopping the gun and saying like the living are not done with you yet is
yeah,
just one of those like chills. It's like, oh yeah.
yeah, like that. I mean, it reminds me kind of like it's almost the opposite of the ending of X2 of
Mm,
what they do with Stryker
right, right.
in where what Wolverine does. Or no, it's not Wolverine. Is it Pyro that
Oh, it's
I
been
can't
so
remember.
long since I've seen
Yeah,
X2.
I mean, either way, there's a moment where the villain like gets stopped and like basically left to die. I like the fact that like we see like this is something that got me really hyped for it. Like seeing this version of Black Panther, like this version of him that is so oriented towards justice and all of that. Like I really liked that. I mean, the confrontation through it as well is layered with so much emotional intensity. I mean, that scene is really incredible, I think. And really makes me wish we got more of Chadwick Boseman before he unfortunately passed away in the MCU, and because he's really brilliant in that scene. I also think of, I mean, the scene with Steve pulling the helicopter in, you know,
Oh
that
yeah,
part's pretty big. That
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 is.
that that's really cool.
I think my
You
wife liked
have
that part too.
that part was pretty awesome. You have, I mean, Ant-Man showing up was really fun for
Getting
me.
out of the van, that's a good, you know,
Yeah.
him saying hi to everybody. I was gonna say also like in line with that is when we get the big letters that say Queens. And I knew,
Oh yeah.
you know it's gonna be Spidey here and Peter Parker. So I was like, I remember the goosebumps getting that while seeing that for the first time because it's like for me, Spider Man's my favorite, and I'm like, okay, we're about to see him. I don't want to say done right, but that's kind of what my mentality was going into it. Because while I do like the Toby movies a lot, and I liked the first Andrew Garfield one a lot, I always wanted to see him interact with the MCU and to have him have a little bit more time in high school. So knowing that we were getting a younger Peter Parker um, as Spider-Man 2, it was a moment where it was a lot of build up to this. I was like,
Yeah.
finally gonna see him interact with these other heroes. Now that's a thing that people are very upset about all the time, but I still very much like to see him interact with all these characters.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like with some of the complaints that people have of like, it would be nice for him to have more things to do individually, but also like he
We
does.
have those
He does
movies.
have.
We have
Yeah,
5 movies of that.
yeah. So I mean like what also in Civil War, I mean I really do enjoy I mean the scene at the very beginning, like showing like the flashback that morphs into this this simulation that Iron Man created.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was really cool.
Like
And this was
that
one of the
was
first
super awesome.
times this and Ant-Man were some of the first times we really had the like de-aging tech.
Yeah,
Where we get to see like young Tony, and then like Ant-Man, I remember seeing that too in theaters and being like, "Oh my god, this is like amazing technology." Now we get that like all the time, but like I remember that being like in this movie and in Ant-Man being like blown away by that.
yeah, and I mean, there's so many other emotional moments. I mean, Steve attending Peggy's funeral is one that comes to mind as well in this.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, how can I forget the UN like scene? Like that is heartbreaking. Like that
Yeah,
one
with
really,
T'Chaka.
yeah. Like that is like we're introduced to a character that we've never seen before and immediately care instantly because of how strong these performances are, right?
Yeah.
Like that's really good. I think like it is it is very well done. I talked about the rooftop chase because I still think that is I really like Spider-Man's introduction in this movie, but I still like Black Panther's better. I think that is the mix of music in that too, with him. It's so good. I really enjoy it. So I there's a lot of this movie that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, just listing all of this stuff, it's like, dang, yeah, that's a pretty packed movie. um, okay, well, I guess your favorite merchandise of Civil War is that Lego set, right?
I
Um,
mean, yeah, well, there was a better version that they released in 2016
oh,
that
really?
was so much cooler. I mean, the Ant-Man figure in this one looks the Giant Man figure looks okay in this. The Giant Man figure in that one makes him look like an actual like Lego minifigure but scaled up, and it
Oh,
looks so
okay.
much it looks much cooler. And also, it was a much more reasonable price. But
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah. This set originally retailed for $100, which to
Damn.
any Lego fans who are seeing this, I did not pay $100 for this. I promise you, I didn't pay $100 for this set. I got it on clearance for 50. I waited. I promise. I was not trying to embolden Lego's bad pricing strategy.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a photo of. I don't think I have a photo of me wearing this handy at least or anything. But my favorite Civil War merch I had was the. I had a shirt that had Civil War on it, and it had. I still have it somewhere, but probably don't fit into it anymore. But it was like Captain America in like blue on one side, and then like Iron Man in red on the other side, and it was just kind of like a Civil War shirt with both teams on there. If I find a picture of it, I'll try to edit it into here while I'm uh, doing this, I guess. But um, I had that, and I guess I have potentially some. I probably have some Funkos of Civil War. I don't know, like uh, I probably have to have like a. I don't know. Do I? Maybe a Captain America or something. I'm trying to think now. Because I don't know if they made like a Spider-Man Civil War Funko. You'd think they would. That would be just like the holding the shield or something. That would be
Yeah,
probably a
that
pretty
also
good.
feels like a really good way to make money.
Yeah, like I have the Hawkeye and Ant-Man one that's not Civil War. It's like the comic book one.
Oh, yeah. Where Ant-Man's on the arrow. I have that exact one.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think I bought it to send to you, but then you found it and bought it, and I was like, well, I'll keep this one then.
Yeah, I think
But this was
I
like
thought I did
just
find it on.
I had just started collecting Funkos back then, so I may not have grabbed one for Civil War. I know I have a Homecoming one. It says on here. Yeah, I probably did not have one for Civil War. That's actually pretty mind blowing then. Because I would have probably wanted to get like I probably already had a cap, or if I did, I later got a Captain America that was. I later got a Captain America that was from Endgame, where he has the broken shield and
Mhm.
Mjolnir. So um, that so I don't have, I guess, a Civil War one, but I did have a shirt, and that's what I had. I mean, that I like I said before, I have the comic that you also presented there, but unlike when we do these for our Star Wars specials, where I buy a lot of Star Wars merch, I did not have as much Civil War, and part of that is because these movies came out so frequently. Like for me, part of the hype for the Star Wars movies was we'd go to the Midnight Force Friday when they dropped the toys for the first time and all the merch. My mom and I would go. For these Marvel movies were starting to come out at a clip of like 3 a year, where I was not buying a lot of
Right.
merchandise of all of them.
Yeah, and I mean, Star Wars has stayed pretty infrequent. So
Yeah,
with everything, I mean, we're getting a new one in 20 days.
a
So
couple weeks.
yeah,
And
soon
then
enough.
yeah, and then we'll have another one next year.
Yeah, and then
So at
probably another
least
one the
two.
year after.
Yeah, yeah. I think they have one
It seems like
scheduled for
there's a
then,
lot.
but
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see
they
how
always have
much they
problems
actually get
getting
through. I
these
mean, hey,
movies out lately, so we'll see.
every franchise has that. I mean, Blade was supposed to come out 3 years ago.
Yeah, true. That is crazy.
So,
They
and
introduced him
now it's
7
probably,
years ago.
oh my gosh, or well, no, six
It was
years ago because
2019
Eternals, right? Oh, right. No, they introduced the.
at the
I thought
Hall
like first.
H.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
They
I
had him
mean, I
come out
guess
on stage.
they kind of got him a version of him in there in What If. or not
Yeah,
what if, zombies, Marvel
they
zombies.
they got his voice in Eternals, like you said, but
Yeah, like
that was it.
that's it. That's been it. Which sucks because
Crazy.
Blade would be great. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really wish that this is the one thing I do wish about Civil War is I kind of wish it was during a time where the Netflix series were acknowledged as part of
better. Yeah,
the
better.
MCU
Yeah,
because having those seeing the street level implications of all of this would have been really interesting, I think.
yeah. I don't even think Agents of Shield touched this. They did the helicarrier for Ultron, but I don't think any of that. Like that would have been an interesting. Like, are you Team Cap or Team Iron over on Agents of Shield? But
Yeah,
I don't think they touched this. So um, at that point, they were already starting to lose their relevance of being tied in as well. So
yeah,
yeah, and like you said, the Netflix ones would just be like the big green guy.
yeah, yep,
That's all they would say. The incident.
yep. Yeah, so that's one thing that I wish, just because like a lot of the tie-ins for the Civil War comics, like all I really enjoyed reading through the like street level type tie-ins for it.
Yeah, yeah.
It was it was so interesting. I mean, because part of the that's how it really starts up in like the impetus for Civil War isn't really
It's the bombing,
any
isn't it? Like by a
yeah,
school?
yeah, it's a group of like young superheroes
Yes.
that
They're not
aren't
like official. Yeah.
no, they're just kids with powers doing stupid stuff. And like that's the impetus for Civil War in the comics, which like that I mean obviously again we talked about how this is an adaptation. It doesn't have to be a perfect thing from it, but there's like some parts of it where it's like, man, if only the X-Men were part of this, right? Because the X-Men
Mhm.
story in Civil War is so interesting because of how mutation and registration really kind of morph together to form these societal pressures. And I digress. We're not talking about the comic book event. We're talking about the movie. Uh, just like
What are
small
the three
things like
ones you have that you have there? It's the
I have
regular one, X-Men, and something else?
and Road to Civil War.
Oh, okay.
So like I think it's 4 issues beforehand, setting up a bunch of things. I've read all of the
Oh,
tie-ins.
they now have the
The,
premiere collection of it too.
it's expensive. I know it's expensive.
15 bucks.
Oh,
For like this is the compact one, kind of like the DC
oh,
compact.
like gotcha. Okay,
It's the first, I mean it's 7 issues, but it's like, book size instead of trade paperback size.
gotcha. Yeah.
Um
No, I've read all of the tie-ins for it. I
oh, but
remember
no, they
one
do have
time
a
yeah,
hardcover set
I'm
that is
sure
all
that's
11 volumes for $500.
yeah, that's yeah. Mhm.
No, no thanks.
No, no.
It's too
I
much.
again, I love the event. Not gonna pay that that price for it. I will slowly collect all of the paperback versions of it. Like slowly I'll get there. I'll
Yeah.
that's the hope.
Yeah, that's crazy. They have a lot. I'm trying to think of like I just read a which oh it was Flashpoint. I read all of them for when I was reading that. When we were building up to I guess it was when we were building up the Flash on here 3 years ago now. But that was like I don't know, it may meant not 80 some issues, but maybe close to that. They had a crap ton of them. I was reading those digitally, of course, but like man, that was I'm like, okay, I have to read this issue now and then this issue next, and like jumping around to all these different tie-ins and stuff because I wanted to read the whole thing, and it was a lot. It was a lot. So uh, Godspeed to you for collecting those when you get to them. Well, I think that'll wrap up our 10th anniversary of Civil War and MCU Spider-Man. Like I said, we're building up to Brand New Day, which is 2.5 months, almost 3 away, because it was like end of July. I think
Yeah.
it's July 31st.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we're getting close to it. 3 months until
I
then.
think I have it on my countdown app here. So let me see. I'll give the listeners the exact day from our recording is 90 days.
Wow.
And we're
There we are.
230 till Doomsday.
And hey, we're only 3 days until the end of Daredevil Born Again, the finale of that season, and 10 days until the Punisher special presentation. Which
That's the thing. So we were supposed to last week. We skipped talking Daredevil to catch up on DC news, and we were supposed to do 2 episodes of Daredevil this week. I could not record that yesterday with Chris because of some stuff that came up. So what we're doing, listeners, we are doing episodes 6, 7, 8 of Daredevil Born Again season 2, the final 3, all in one go next week. So you're listening to this one now for our 10-year Civil War discussion. Next week we'll have the final 3 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, which we'll discuss there, and then the week after that, we'll have the Punisher One Last Kill special to dive into, and then we'll start building up to Supergirl, as well as we have to. Man, a week after Punisher, we'll be talking Mandalorian and Grogu, I guess. So, busy. Then after that, we build up
summer
to
box office. Summer box office season is upon us. Like that's what's happening here. It's an exciting time.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to next year. I'm kind of looking forward to next year because we'll have Starfighter and then a gap until Man of Tomorrow, I think, and then there's no Spider-Man movie after that. So like it'll be. And no Marvel movie in the summer, so we'll be good until Secret Wars.
As far as we know, you never know.
Oh, they're not doing no surprise movie.
I don't know. Maybe, but a surprise TV show, Jordan. It could.
That's true. I will have to probably do a TV show in there, but like at least for the movies, we've been doing a lot of building up to it with doing like a comic run or a movie. Like for Supergirl, we're probably going to talk Woman of Tomorrow comic. We're probably going to talk about the 84 movie. But like, I'm trying to, like last year we did huge build up for both Fantastic Four and Superman. That was exhausting. I don't think we're getting that.
I had to rewatch 2015
Fan Four Stick.
Which, by the way, it's crazy that I went to the theaters and saw that, but missed so many Marvel movies in theaters.
Yeah, that's
like MCU movies.
Yeah, you saw that instead of Ant-Man?
Yep. I really liked the Fantastic Four, man. I really liked them. I really wanted that to work out, but it just didn't.
You walked out of that movie like, damn it, I should have seen Ant-Man instead.
Yeah, I should have asked for that for a birthday gift. Tickets to Ant-Man, not the Fantastic Four.
When did Fan Four Stick come out? Was that a summer movie?
August of 2015.
Okay, Ant-Man was a July film.
Yeah. So I could have done that. I could have been happy.
You could have been.
Instead, I was depressed. So
But you know what though? That made for a better podcast episode because you were able to relate to this movie and bringing it back to the MCU. So there was a reason that you saw Fan Four Stick instead, and it was for this podcast 10 years later.
Yep. It was for the content. That's why. That's exactly what I was thinking back.
You're like, years from now, I'm gonna be on a podcast. I need to see this one.
Years from now, I'll be able to rip this movie to shreds. Years from now, I'll be able to talk about Fan Four Stick and make fun of it. Not now.
And that's the good thing is too. Like we got an actual good Fantastic Four movie last year that we are able to. It doesn't sting as much.
Only took 3 decades of trying.
Yes.
Decades of trying.
Yeah. Jeez. All right, well, that'll wrap us up here at Soups and Sabers on all of our social media. If you want to give us a follow there, like I said, we got a pretty stacked schedule coming up here this summer. I just want to thank you, Jack, for coming on and talking this. I think last one was Wonder Man.
Wonder Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
renewed.
Season 2 coming. Season 2.
Yeah.
Thankfully. I'm very happy for that. I'll be good.
Yeah, so we have Wonder Man season 2. We got Daredevil season 3 filming right now. Like we have some TV shows that are going to be coming out here. So exciting times here. But thank you all for watching and listening along. We'll catch you next time when we talk Daredevil Born Again season 2 episodes 6, 7, and 8.